fate of Stormbringer. As one chapter ends, a new chapter begins, and you just might find yourself a part of this new chapter. Before we get to where Stormbringer is today, let's reset the clock. Let's go through a quick 2 or 3 minute introduction for those of you that are new to this whole experience. Several years ago, a fellow by the name of Jeffro Johnson launched an advanced Dungeons & Dragons campaign called Trollopolis. The leader of Trollopolis, he decided on a whim, would be Elric. Yes, that Elric. After a few sessions, his players realized if Elric is here, that means Stormbringer is here. A year and a half of hijinks later, and at the conclusion of a massive battle to wrest Stormbringer from one of the 6 hands of a Merilith demon, that's one of the 6-armed snake ladies, the players found themselves with a bit of a conundrum. This sword had been a thorn in their side for almost a year. What to do with it? They'd tried to hide it. The Merilith demon found it. They needed to find a place to banish it. They collared an evil PC who chose the wrong side in that war, jammed the sword into his hand, and stuffed him in a closet, a magic closet that would open up on another plane of existence. As a joke, they decided that that plane of existence would be the Dungeons & Dragons campaign run by a friend of theirs who goes by the moniker BW1776. Now, that particular DM has been running a campaign in Cypheron, which is the in-house campaign world used by the Adventurer Conqueror King system. He would have been well within his rights to say, that's great, Stormbringer appears above the ocean, sinks to the bottom, I'm not dealing with it. However, he knew that they were challenging him, that they wanted to wreck his campaign. He also knew that an event like Stormbringer is not just a problem for the DM, it's a problem for the players. He embraced that challenge, and after a year of additional hijinks, all centered around, well, I'm not sure about that part, mostly centered around Stormbringer, a massive battle called Operation Muscle Thunder was fought, and Stormbringer once again found itself on the wrong side of victory. This time around, the players decided to hurl the Dreadblade into the sun. Now, the sun of Cypheron, or Dubzaron, as it's come to be known, is not just a glowing ball of gas. It is the physical personification of the sun god Ra. Although in Dubzaron and Cypheron, Ra goes by the name Aminar. Aminar decided he did not want to be stabbed in the heart by the soul-drinking blade and set out with an army to stop that. Aminar's rival, the demon prince Baal, decided to take an army and stop Aminar from stopping the son of Dubzaron from being poisoned. As a little bit of insurance, Baal decided to take along the goddess Blibblibblib. Now, in Dubzaron, Blibblibblib goes by the name Lamala. And for the rest of this video, we will refer to this vice president of evil, if you will, as Lamala. She had ideas of her own. At the end of the battle, after Baal had been driven back, Aminar had been driven back, and just about everybody had been slaughtered, the heavenly hosts and the demonic hordes, she found herself at the edge of the fight, holding Stormbringer. And rather than fulfill her promise to hurl Stormbringer into the heart of Aminar, she fled. And where did she flee to? Well, that's a complicated question. Because Stormbringer had been acting rather strange ever since it had drunk the soul of that Merilith demon. As Lamala could not decide exactly which plane of existence to flee to, she found herself fleeing to all of them. Not just Trollopolis, not just Dubzaron, but a host of Dungeons & Dragons campaigns. This humble narrator can think off the top of his head of a campaign called Red Frontier, Lumberlands, Long Florida, and the newest addition to the GroSR campaign family, Living Earth. We call these a family of campaigns because they are all united using one weird trick. And that trick is one-to-one Jeffrogaxian timekeeping. In all of these campaigns, for every day that passes in the real world, one day passes in each of these campaigns. What this does is it provides a uniform foundation. It provides a simple way of tracking how much time characters spend in each world, and it ensures that no world's calendar gets so far advanced that it complicates the record keeping. When a character uses a gate spell to jump from Trollopolis to Long, Florida, and spends a month in Long, Florida, he's unavailable in the rest of the campaign worlds. If he then falls into a deep hole to the center of the earth and winds up plummeting to one of the other campaign worlds, everyone knows exactly how much time has passed. It is a way of making those transitions seamless. Unfortunately for everyone involved, every one of which thought it would be funny if Dubzaron fell to an apocalypse, because Lamala has now fled into the multiverse, every campaign is suffering an apocalypse. Her essence, if you will, has been shattered. The Dread Blade has been acting weird and a little bit more jittery than usual since drinking the soul of the Merilith demon way back in Trollopolis. In each of these worlds, on October 12th, the day begins as normal. A red sun rises, usually in the east, and then the red rains begin to fall. The seas begin to boil. Storms break out. Normally docile creatures of the oceans begin attacking ships all over the place. Statues to Aminar crumble, and an apparition appears in major cities, colosseums, and other points of interest across the cosmos. It is Lamala herself who raises her lobster claws to the sky and proclaims that her doom is upon the universe. Aminar is wounded, gravely wounded, but he is not out of the fight, and he offers some aid and succor to those of his followers who remain loyal even through this curse of Lamala. What does this mean for the various campaigns? Enough about the lore, if you will. Any campaign whose DM is a bad enough dude to accept the curse of Lamala will find himself inspired to make the lives of his players' characters even more miserable than usual, at least for those characters who are aligned with the forces of law. Because with Lamala Ascendant, her followers are given a host of boosts. The first of which is that any evil or chaos-aligned cleric, when casting a spell, is treated as a caster of one level higher. Clerics of Lamala herself are boosted by 3 levels. A first-level cleric of Lamala will cast spells as a 4th-level cleric. Not only that, but the red rains that drizzle and the mists that have settled in around these campaign worlds blocks out the salvific power of sunlight. Creatures who would normally be penalized for operating at daylight no longer are penalized. Vampires can walk the earth, even by day. As if that wasn't enough, the seas themselves are unusually hostile. Any sea creature encountered as a result of a planned encounter or a wandering monster will have a bonus of 1 hit die. All sea creatures encountered will be hostile to those they encounter. Any patron who is running a domain that depends upon the seas or the rivers will suffer significant revenue lost. Additional ships go down due to inexplicable storms. Creatures of the deep who have not been seen for millennia have stirred. Their tentacles rise up and pull ships down like toys. It is not a happy time. Fortunately, this time will only last 6 months at the most. Remember, Aminar is not entirely out of the fight. He has forces of his own at play. If his forces can score successes against Lamala, the duration of the curse will be reduced by 1 month. Remember, we are using 1-to-1 timekeeping here. This curse will continue through November, December, January, February, March, and into April, mid-April of 2023. But if one of the player groups in one of these campaigns can score a direct success that would hamper the cause of Lamala, that duration will be reduced by a month. Any evil-aligned PCs who can score a success for Lamala will push that date back once more to a maximum of 6 months. What does this mean for you? Well, if you are willing to introduce the Curse of Lamala to your campaign for the next 6 months, and if you are inspired to run a series of high-level adventures against the Curse of Lamala, then you can submit your information to B-Dubs, and he will take that under consideration. The best place to go for information on this is, of course, the blog run by B-Dubs. It's called bdubsanddragons.blogspot.com. I will throw a link in the description of this video. And for those of you who are used to allowing other people to do your imagining for you, you know, you are stuck on that supplement treadmill. You're constantly buying new products. You may be able to find products that fit the bill. The Hidden Shrine of Tamoakan, the Lost City of Kuatoa would be perfect for this. After all, Blibdulpoop is the goddess of the Kuatoa. If you run one of those modules in your campaign and your player characters have some success defeating the shrine, or is it the temple or the city? I can't remember. If you have sea demon cultists who have come out of the shadows and have toppled the statue of Aminar and replaced it with their Sea Witch demon statue, if your player characters can not just topple that statue, but also defeat the cult, scoring a definitive success against it, then perhaps the D&D cosmos can be spared months of suffering. Can you recover the heart of the Kraken? Can you assassinate the High Priestess of Lamala? Or maybe you serve Lamala herself. Remember that most of these campaigns involve patron play. Doesn't do any good to have good guys without bad guys. Perhaps one of your player characters decides he's ready to run a cult of Lamala. Perhaps one of them runs the tribe of Gatormen, who now finds itself ascendant. If they can destroy one of the major metropolitan areas, that would be a solid win for Lamala. The choice is yours. If you want to play along, jump into the hashtag BroSR, leave a comment down in the on this video, and by all means, go to bdubsanddragons.blogspot.com, leave a comment there. The one thing we ask you is that you show your receipts. Make the adventure big, make it epic, and make sure you tell us about it. Don't just run a quick one-off. Really invest some time and effort making this special. Join the family of Trollopolis and Dubzaron, Long Florida, Living Earth, and a host of others, and you can become a part of something way bigger than your table. You can recapture some of that lost experience of D&D when 50 to 100 guys were all engaged in the same endeavor. Maybe on different sides of the line, but all participating in one big, massive campaign. Jump on in, the water's fine. Until next time, I'm praying for you.